So this is Ask TCB. This is where we ask you guys for your questions that you want us to answer. So we ask them through the TCB Appreciation Society as well as Instagram. So we'll be going through the best ones there today. So follow us there if you want to submit your questions in for next time. So for today, we'll start off with the ones from the Facebook group. And the first one is from Perry, and he asks, you are put in a life or death situation. Who amongst the boys in TCB do you call to save your life?
Not Ro.
Wow.
I'm with you on that, mate. You call him, he's on his way, he's going to do something to put his own life in danger before he gets to you.
Exactly. He'll die first somehow.
Wow.
No, you call Ro, he shows up 3 hours late.
Oh, Sen. Mate, every week we record.
Out of all people to say late, Sen.
That's pretty ballsy from you, yeah.
We're meant to record this at 11. The man messages 11:30. Rohit and I are on at 11:30. 11:50 he shows up. Muted, no less.
Are we not going to say anything about Kush showing up at 1?
I was cold.
The man was doing grocery shopping.
Look,
But no, definitely not Ro.
process of elimination, I think I'm going to go with Migs. Purely on the fact that Sen, unreliable, Ro, probably be dead. Me, I'm still on my L's, so...
I was going to say not Kush because he can't get to you.
Exactly.
He's going to have to check where the bus goes to be able to get to you.
I guess this isn't a question of who would you call, it's just who wouldn't you call. And yeah, you can easily mark out me, Ro, and Kush. So I guess, it has to be Manny.
There's only one answer, one correct answer.
Let's go, boys. All right, next question is from Leanne, and she wrote in, what is your favorite episode that you have recorded so far?
I can tell you what my least favorite episode is.
Here we go.
Which one? Go on.
I think we're answering the questions the wrong way here, boys.
So my favorite episode is one that we did a while ago. It's called Cheating, Bullying, and Necrophilia. Because I guess Manisha just had one of the greatest stories of all time.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful story. And then potentially my least favorite episode was the Dimitri rewind. Because the preamble to that was Sen and Migs just ditched me and Kush, and me and Kush had no idea what to talk about, so we concocted a third-party character from Russia.
Who could come back? Let's not rule that out altogether.
What I want to say about that episode is, so I was listening to Overseas, and Dimitri is Kush. Let's break the facade. Dimitri is Kush. Why weren't you asking the questions, bro? Kush was asking himself questions.
No, Ro was right. That whole episode was shambles. And I think before that, we had no idea he was going to ask the question. So we just started recording. And then I was just like, oh, you know what? Let me just ask the question.
We thought we could trick the audience into thinking like Dimitri was an actual character. So we're like, it'll be sus if I ask all the questions. Kush, you give it a go.
So Ro just watched Kush have a conversation with himself.
It was one of the most difficult episodes I've ever gone through, purely for the fact that I had to watch Ro hide his face laughing and me switching accents in a matter of seconds.
And this is when we were recording in Rohit's garage as well. So imagine if your parents walked in to see Kush talk to himself, wasn't it?
This was upstairs, and every, I think, 3 minutes, we heard this beeping sound as well. It was this random beeping sound that I had to remove every 3 minutes of that episode as well.
The beeping sound was the fire alarm. Change your battery for the fire alarm, but I still haven't changed the batteries.
Classic. The one that you said was pretty good. I also liked Air Jesus was pretty fun as well. That was the garage era of our podcast. That was a decent one. So was Nice Flow. I think that was also pretty fun. And then some of the newer ones. I think the Scott Morrison Kakokaki was pretty fun as well. And Grooming and Expose, just purely how shithouse that ended up being and how off the rails it went. Yeah. So those were a couple of my favorite ones.
I've got to say my favorite one is How to Survive Uni, which was the first time we played Bull Slut. And I think Kush somehow named fucking, 20, 30 train stations?
26 train stations, something like that.
Something ridiculous. And then we also ranked uni degrees without knowing a single thing about them. So sums up the shithousery of the podcast.
Yeah. I think my favorite is the second episode that we did, the first time we did Kako Be Cucked. That is still my all-time favorite episode. Otherwise, that or Air Jesus. It's got to be those two, I reckon.
Actually, one more rogue choice, World War Lou, which was the one where Rohit was Was barely conscious through that episode.
You can string together 2 sentences.
One of the all-time great performances on this podcast.
That was me coming in after work. I was dead tired. I had no filter between my thoughts and my words, and a stream of consciousness just played out beautifully.
All right, check those episodes out if you haven't already. So our next question is from Jack, and he asks, if outrageous things can happen, like Boris Johnson becoming Prime Minister and Trump becoming President, is it unreasonable to think my parents will love me one day?
Yeah, quite unreasonable. Do you believe in unconditional love? You know, no matter what, your parents will love you? Yeah, I don't.
This is like the question, like, is there a true altruistic act? The answer is always no. There's always strings attached to love.
There's always some
altruism.
agenda behind this. So yeah, I think it is unreasonable to think that your parents will love you, Jack.
Like, look, again, you know, past performance is not an indicator of future performance, but tends to be sometimes. And you're, 20, Jack, assume? And if they haven't loved you in the last 20 years, not much is going to change, my friend.
Sorry, mate. We'll move on to the next one after that dark answer. The next question is from Thomas, and he asks, when did you guys decide to start recording and begin making podcasts?
This is a nice story. I do remember it. Sort of vaguely, but
Go on, Kush.
it was thrown out of nowhere, wasn't it? I think Sen just threw it out of nowhere, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, we should do a podcast or something like that." Literally. Yeah, where were we at? Yeah, Migs, I honestly don't remember where we were at.
So after weeks of playing Fortnite, I'm pretty sure, I think Sen was scrolling on his phone and saw the Jim Jeffries show was in Sydney. So we're like, you know what, us three, let's go. Let's just go one day. Then we got there early. We were watching the pre-acts, the comedians before Jim Jeffries. And then one of them we just weren't impressed with. So like in between, we're just like, boys, we can do better. We're funnier than this, boys. Let's start a podcast. And then in the show, we made it like a Facebook group chat. And then it just went from there. I don't know where Rohit came into all this. It was just us three.
So yeah, it was Sen, Migs, and Kush. And then I was in America at the time or something. I was overseas. And then Migs messaged me just one day like, do you want to do a pod? I just said yes instantly, not knowing who else was joining. I was like, let's go.
What the pod was about or anything.
Just, do you want to start a pod? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. Let's find something to talk about.
To be honest, we've been doing podcast material for years, but we've only been recording it for the past year and a bit.
That's very true. It's like the classic thing. It's like you were just having a conversation with your mates and then you're like, oh, pretty funny. I think, would other people find us funny? And then we put ourselves out there and people seem to find us somewhat entertaining. That's a deep insecurity that we all still have.
Oh, all right. We'll move on. Next question. It's from Richard, and he asks, have you got any other videos planned, like the traffic cone one?
Yes, Richard. Yes, we do.
It's in the making. Stay tuned. Subscribe to us on Critical Banter on YouTube, and you'll see our next little video to drop. And then the question after that, last question from the Appreciation Society, actually. It's from Paul Gendrup, and he asks, what is your favorite story about each other?
I have a couple of stories. I'll share the first one, though, and it's about Sen. So one of my favorite memories of Sen that I have is when we were in Europe. So I was staying at a hostel with his girlfriend at the time now, and Sen came and visited us, and we were outside and we were just chilling out with some people, and Sen was trying to build rapport with random European dudes.
I remember this story.
And the way he did it was like, he basically found a dude and he was like, how bad is this hostel? The Wi-Fi is slow, the floors are dingy, all that sort of stuff. And the guy turns around and looks at him and says, I'm the owner of the hostel.
Oh, Censurin.
Yeah, I do remember that. I was fine because I was leaving. You guys had to stay in that hostel for like another 2 nights or something, or another night.
Your assessment of the hostel was absolutely accurate. It was actually disgusting. But the way that the guy let Sen spiel for like 2 minutes about how crap the hostel was, and then he just drops the bombshell. Oh, dearie me.
But I can't stress how dodgy this place was. It was subhuman conditions, to be honest. Like, yeah, I think you guys were paying, what, £5 a night? So fair enough. You got what you paid for.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so my story is also about Senny. And I think it's during the same time period as well when he went to the UK for an exchange, 1 or 2 weeks, I think it was. And the boys back home set him a little challenge that he unfortunately did not complete. And the forfeit for that, the punishment for that challenge was to buy a dildo. So we thought this man, the coward that he was at the time, wasn't even going to step foot into a sex shop, But little did we know, he messaged the group chat inviting all the boys and some girls as well to visit the sex shop, have a look around, shop around, see what they had to offer. Rohit, you, as we said, you were overseas at the time. We FaceTimed you as well whilst we were in the shop, showing you the offerings of the sex shop. We saw the extortionate prices that they had, the extortionate dildos that they had. Senny settled for a $50 8-inch black dildo, if I'm correct, Sen.
That's correct.
And unfortunately, he did not keep it. He pawned it off to Rohit's girlfriend, who claims to have never used it, but still has it.
She plans to flip it. But that's actually a different story, Migs, than what I thought. I had another Sen story that I thought was insane.
Here we go. All right, let's go.
And it was so I flew in from, I think I was overseas, and I flew into a party that we were going to. I think it was called, it's like a uni party called Black Party.
This is the one I thought you guys would go with. This is the one I thought you'd go with.
And so I came in, and then everyone was already drinking, so I had to catch up. And then we're walking through, and then Sen is absolutely plastered. And we were like, oh, we paid for the party. We're just going to leave him on the side of the road. Bad friends, to be fair. So we go inside, have a good time at the party. 4 hours later, we come in, and Sen's wearing this foil cape that the ambulance has put over him, dressed like Superman, walking back to the hostel.
No, the thing is, we didn't even meet him outside the party. We were walking back to our little Airbnb without him. And then we so happened to run into him on the streets in his cape, in his burrito foil.
He just appeared out of nowhere. That's another one of Sen's classic.
We'll put the picture up of me in the cape or me with the dildo up on one of our socials, maybe.
Probably both.
We'll put it in the group. If you want to see that, join the group.